All right, so you know how sometimes you're scrolling online and you see something that just stops you in your tracks?
Hmm.
That's what happened to me with those messages on Lil Tay's X account.
Yeah, talk about cryptic, right? Devastating news, please pray. That's heavy stuff.
Exactly. Those aren't phrases you use lightly.
And coming after that whole death hoax thing on Instagram back in 2023, it's like, what's even real anymore?
Totally. Like that feeling of, wait, what? Never really went away.
Nope.
And that's exactly why we're doing this deep dive. We've got this stack of articles, interviews, the whole 9 yards, and we need to like sift through it all and figure out what is actually going on.
Absolutely. Because you can't really understand the weight of these new messages without going back to the beginning, Lil Tay's whole journey.
And what a wild ride it's been.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. 2018, this kid, what, 9, 10 years old?
Tiny.
Tiny, decked out in designer everything, flashing wads of cash in her videos. It was captivating, but also kind of unsettling.
Oh, completely. It was like this bizarre window into the whole child influencer thing that was blowing up at the time. You've got brands tripping over themselves to partner with these kids who have huge online followings, often with very little oversight. It brings up so many ethical questions about consent, exploitation, the role of the parents. It's a lot.
And it's hard not to think about, like, the history of child stars, right? You look at Shirley Temple, even Britney Spears, and her whole fight for control. It's like, even though these cases are decades apart, there's still this common thread of young talent being pushed into this intense spotlight, facing pressure and manipulation that most adults couldn't even handle.
Absolutely. And for Lil Tay, that was amplified by the whole young flexer image she was portraying. It drew people in, but it also made them uneasy.
And then, boom, middle of 2018, just gone. Disappeared from social media.
Yep. Vanished.
We know that a big part of that was because of a custody battle between her parents.
Right. Her father, Christopher Hope, was worried about her well-being. He claimed she wasn't in school, said she needed a more stable environment, which is a pretty stark contrast to the whole LA lifestyle she was living with her mother, Angela Tien, and her half-brother, Jason. He even went so far as to get a court order to bring her back to Vancouver.
And a court order is not something a judge just hands out, right? That means they saw some real concern there about Lil Tay. But as we know, the story doesn't end there.
Oh, not even close. This is where we get into these conflicting stories. Because according to her mother, this wasn't about Lil Tay's well-being at all. This was about control and money.
Okay, hold on. We need to pause right there because we've got to hear what Lil Tay's mother had to say about all of this. And trust me, it is about to get interesting. So Angela Tien, Lil Tay's mom, she's claiming that Christopher Hope, Lil Tay's dad, he wasn't really worried about Lil Tay. Not really. She's saying he was trying to sabotage Lil Tay's career.
Wow.
To control the money, right?
Yeah.
She thought he was trying to stop her from signing, like, big contracts.
Yeah.
The kind of deals that come with fame.
Right, that could set her up for the future.
Exactly. And Lil Tay was already making moves in music and acting, and he wanted to shut it all down, or at least that's what her mom is claiming.
And this is where it gets even more complicated, even darker, I'd say. Remember those Instagram posts from back in 2018?
Oh, yeah.
Right around the time of the custody battle? That's a whole other layer to this whole thing.
Okay, so imagine this. 2018, this custody battle is going on. And then on Lil Tay's Instagram, there's a post. Just 2 words. Help me.
Oh, wow.
Chilling, right?
Yeah.
It's so vague,
Yeah.
but you just know something's wrong.
Yeah, you get that feeling.
And then a little bit later, the account gets hacked, or at least it seemed like it was hacked.
Right.
And suddenly you've got these graphic, racist posts. Just awful stuff.
Really disturbing stuff, especially given her audience at the time.
Exactly. This wasn't just some random internet troll. This felt targeted, like someone was trying to take her online image and just twist it into something ugly. And then it gets even more intense because we start seeing posts directly accusing her father, Christopher Hope, and his wife of abuse.
And these weren't just vague accusations either. They were alleging physical abuse, even hinting at, inappropriate behavior.
Painting a very different picture of her home life than what we were seeing in those videos.
Right, the total opposite of that carefree, lavish lifestyle.
Exactly. Now, it's really important to remember that Christopher Hope has denied all of these allegations. And we have to be careful here. These are serious accusations. We're not here to say whether they're true or not.
Of course.
But even with that said, it just adds this whole other layer of darkness and uncertainty to this already messy situation,
Absolutely. And you can't ignore the timing either. All of this happening right in the middle of this custody battle, emotions running high. It makes you wonder who benefits from these allegations, who's trying to control how people see this whole thing. And most importantly, was Lil Tay safe?
So many questions. Was someone taking advantage of her? Was she being pushed to act a certain way, to say certain things?
It's heartbreaking to even think about.
And these questions just hung in the air for years because she was gone from social media. Until 2023, when she suddenly reappears. And not just with a message, but with a whole new chapter, a musical one.
It's like she was taking back control of her story, shifting the focus away from the drama, from the allegations to her own voice, creatively.
And she came out swinging with that debut single, Sucker for Green.
Catchy song.
A song all about money, which, I don't know, felt kind of ironic given everything she'd been through, but also like a total power move.
Totally. Especially since it coincided with Angela, her mother, getting full custody.
So it seems like, okay, she's back, new music, she's in the driver's seat. But then, a few months later, that death hoax happens.
Yeah.
This story just can't stay away from the drama, can it? It's like just as soon as you think, okay, maybe things are settling down, boom, that death hoax.
Yeah.
It was wild. First, you see these posts saying both Lil Tay and her brother are gone. You're like, what?
It was shocking for sure.
Totally. But then Lil Tay pops back up, very much alive, and says that her dad, Christopher Hope, made the whole thing up.
Orchestrated it.
Yeah, to sabotage her comeback, to mess up her music, the whole 9 yards.
And of course, the internet just explodes.
Right. It was like everyone had an opinion.
It shows you how fast misinformation can spread, especially when it involves someone like Lil Tay,
Totally. And just when you think it can't get any crazier, her and her mom are saying that her former manager, Harry Sang, was in on it.
Wow.
And of course, Sang denies it, even suggests maybe her half-brother Jason was involved. It was like a blame game. Nobody knows what to believe.
It's dizzying, honestly. And it brings us right back to that question of who's really in control,
Totally.
Is it Lil Tay making these decisions, or is she being used?
Exactly. It's easy to forget that behind all the fame and the drama, she's still so young.
She is.
To be dealing with all of this, the fame, the family stuff, the music industry.
It's a lot.
It's going to be so much pressure.
And it makes you think about how we, as a culture, we kind of glorify youth and going viral, but we don't always think about how vulnerable that makes someone.
That's so true. Which brings us all the way back to where we started. Devastating news. Please pray. What does that even mean in this context?
Right. Especially knowing how Lil Tay's story has played out online before.
Exactly. So, is this about her life, her career? Is it about the legal stuff? We talked about all those custody battles.
Right. Those aren't just going to disappear.
And asking for prayers, that's heavy.
It is. It makes you think something serious is happening.
But at the same time, we know how calculated everything has been so far. Are we being played again?
It's possible. I think the main thing to remember is there's a real person at the center of all of this.
Yeah, a young person.
Right. And whatever's going on, it's her life.
This deep dive has definitely left us with more questions than answers.
But I think the big takeaway is that things aren't always what they seem, especially online. So while we wait to see what happens next with Lil Tay, let's all remember to be a little skeptical, think critically about what we see, and most importantly, remember that there's a human being behind all of this. Until next time.